What kind of person do you picture if I ask you to think of an entrepreneur? What about a leader? Or maybe a job creator? Would any of them make the cut? What if I told you that we help 10 million young people achieve their goals every year, all over the world? And in turn, they create jobs and prosperity. JA has been preparing young people for successful careers since 1919. You find us all across the globe, in more than 100 countries. We're getting young people ready for work. And we get results. Our students go on to excel as professionals, taking control of their lives and careers, and some even succeed beyond their wildest dreams. JA students learn to do things like balancing a budget, negotiating deals, setting goals, and working in teams. It's hands-on learning from professionals with real-life work experience. All our programs are based in 3 fundamental principles: work readiness, financial literacy, and entrepreneurship. For example, in JA Company program, young people learn how to start and run a business. In JA Job Shadow, a student joins a mentor in a professional work setting. And students in the JA More Than Money program study the ins and outs of earning, spending, and saving. And these are only 3 of the more than 50 different programs that JA offers. Our network of staff, volunteers, and partner schools reaches young people all over the world, from major cities to rural communities and everywhere in between. And it works, because we pay attention to the needs in each region, and then we customize our programs so that JA students will be ready for the job markets they're about to enter. We even customize our own names. But at the end of the day, we're all one JA, JA Worldwide. And the core of our organization is the same everywhere. JA inspires and prepares young people to succeed in a global economy. Whoever they are, wherever they are, JA activates young people for the future of jobs.
Welcome everybody. We are so excited to be together again in this new version of our webinars. As you all may remember, our webinars were called Keep Learning for many, many months because we thought that was needed during the COVID crisis. Now this is the first edition of what we are calling Inspiring Voices, because hopefully and this will be, I think, a great way of kicking off this new series of webinars, because now it is about inspiring our young people, inspiring our audience to go and strive, to go and drive change. And that's why I'm so excited to have today's lineup, because you will have the chance to be inspired as some personal life experiences from today's panelists. I also would like to highlight the fact that inspiring is about dreaming big, and inspiring is about going the extra mile. For our organization, it's definitely about reinventing the way we are reaching our young people and the type of experiences that we are delivering. And that's why I also want to share, as a way to open today's conversation, something we are putting together for June, which is the Now Fest event, which will be the largest youth festival in the history of the region, that will gather young people from across 26 countries, and hopefully we will provide 50,000 learning experiences to our young people. And this is only possible. It is only possible to take this type of risks and to try new things because we have partners like Project Management Institute Educational Foundation, who has become the gold sponsor. And it was the first organization that said, I'm betting, I think this is worthy. Let's go out there and inspire our young people, which they really needed after everything they have gone through with the COVID crisis. So we invite you all to join us in June to this mix of learning experience with workshops, but also inspirational experiences with some great speakers. We have just signed with Daba Mandela, Nelson Mandela grandson, who has now become the ambassador for this event, really trusting that we can deliver a great experience. So now let's move on today's conversation. As we always say, we try to make this more a two-stream thing, not a monologue, not something where it is just me talking or one speaker, but something that we try to leverage is the personal experience of each of the speakers. And let me introduce you who are here with us today, so you have a better idea of this mix that we have in terms of backgrounds, experiences. But at the end of the day, the common denominator is that all of these speakers are all about inspiring, because they were inspired at a certain point and now they want to give back. So we have Alma Dominguez. She's a JA Mexico alumni from the company program, and I will speak a little bit about the company program later. She has a successful business career in the world of mezcal. Alma is currently the general director of the Mexican Union of Mezcal. And we were just talking before starting today's session that she's definitely breaking stereotypes and is proving that women are ready to lead any industry out there, bringing everything that women have to offer. And so we are very proud, Alma, of having you and having you as a history of a story of life that inspires in itself. Thank you. Then we have Gabriel Serber, and Gabriel is the Director of Sustainable Development and Social Impact at Arcos Dorados. Definitely a brand that we are all engaged and connected with. Actually, my little daughters last night, they were saying, Dad, let's celebrate that you're back home after 2 weeks. And guess what? They say, let's go to McDonald's. So that's where we had dinner last night. So Gabriel has more than 25 years of experience in retail and hospitality sector as well. His career started in Argentina as a crew in McDonald's restaurant in Buenos Aires. So imagine when it comes to the path and the journey, he started as a crew in a restaurant, and now he's the top leader for sustainable development in Arcos Dorados. He had different roles and positions, being responsible for the McDonald's brand in several countries in Europe, the Caribbean, and Latin America, and also leading operations at the regional level. So Gabriel, thank you very much. Also, just seeing from where you started and where you are, that is already inspiring, and we really appreciate that. We also want to welcome Ricardo Triana. Ricardo is a seasoned PMP credential holder with more than 20 years of experiences, and is managing director for the Latin American region, where he is crucial in PMI development. A Colombian and Mexican citizen, but living in the US. So when it comes to become global citizenship, Ricardo is definitely an example. He has lived and worked in several countries during the last 20 years and has been one of the sought-after international project management's keynote speakers for the Project Management Institute during the last 15 years. So Ricardo, looking at you and seeing all of the experience you have, you started at the age of 15 years? I don't know. Like the math are not closing to me now, but very large experience living in so many countries. And now, as I said, Project Management Institute with its foundation is a key partner supporting not just JA to try new things, but also to bring knowledge to our young people so they are not just inspired, but also better equipped and prepared. And our fourth speaker today is Macarena Valente. Is the youngest one in this group and is, I know, making us all look very old. But Macarena, we love the fact that you are here today to bring the fresh mindset that we know young people have. You participated in the J Company program as well in 2020. Your company that was created with you and your classmate was called Energia. And the exciting thing is that your company was recognized with the Business Idea Award, which reflected that you have a very innovative mindset. So again, thank you very much, Macarena, for keeping engaged and in contact with Junior Achievement. So now I will set the stage. I will do it very briefly, and then we will go into the most exciting part, which is the Q&A and interacting with this amazing panel that we have today. I will start with the concept of collective impact, and I know that these 4 speakers feel identified with this concept. Collective impact was brought into the science of social impact when I think we understood, and when I say we, all of the actors that are about the social development understood that due to the complexity of the social challenges that we have, there was no way that one sector or one actor could solve it by its own. We understood as an NGO that if we didn't work with the private sector and the public sector and other NGOs all together, more with a consortium approach, we would never be able to leverage resources, to leverage knowledge, to leverage innovation. And that, of course, required that it was not about the merit that our organization had, but the merit that we could have as a whole, as a collective effort. And when it comes to inspiring young people, or when it comes to youth employment, which is definitely one of the challenges we have in the region, we need to act together. And of course, that means to get agreements, and that means, of course, many times to make sacrifice for the benefit of the overall goal. So the J Company program that we run in all across the region, we have more than 50,000 young people participating in our 26 countries, is all about building that entrepreneurial spirit. And in order to do that, of course, the collective impact is critical because we have around 3,000 companies and private sector partners. We work with many governments across the region because while giving this type of experience, like the one that Macarena had, for example, young people are not just being trained and being educated, but they go from the abstract of gaining knowledge to now action and proving themselves that they have what it takes to become an entrepreneur. So it's connecting the theory with real life experiences. And then when you add on top of that volunteers, like for example, Gabriel telling them that it's possible because he made it, no excuses, and putting himself as an example, that becomes a role model, and young people get contagious. And that's exactly what we want to do. Of course, this program has been developed during time. For example, lately, thanks to the support of Dell, we have been able to develop what we call SGME, which is a platform where now these businesses are being run on a platform, on a digital platform. So all of the digital excitement and theme is also part of the J Company program experience. And also something proud we are about is the entrepreneurial skills path, which is the first certificate or certification process for young people on entrepreneurship that is being given in the region. Many times I hear that just having a high school certificate, in case you are lucky enough to have a high school certificate, doesn't say that much. But now that we are giving, with endorsement of the Organization of American States, this certificate on entrepreneurship, where young people are being able to prove against a potential employer that they have been through that process of building the entrepreneurial career and spirit, that is definitely something we are very excited about. So, having said all of that, and hopefully our speakers today will be able to connect their professional type of perspective with also the personal one, because that's where I think we get the inspiration from, when the purpose we go after in our daily work is connected to the purpose that we have in life. So that's an extra challenge that I'm putting on our panel today, but let's see how it works. So I have a set of questions here, and hopefully this will guide that inspirational conversation. And I will move from one to the other. And then if some of you want to jump in, you just unmute and jump in. This is like having a coffee with a group of friends, and we want to keep it as straightforward and simple and honest as we can. Okay? Any question, any doubt from the panelists? I see them smiling. Okay, so let's go. So we'll start with you, Gabriel. And I know collective impact is not a new term for you at all. But what it means for you first, and then for your company, what it means collective impact, if you can put in a more concrete way, so we go from the abstract to how that affects you and the company.
Absolutely. Thank you very much to the J team. And good morning, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here with you, and thank you for the invitation. I want to start by quoting a very old Chinese proverb that goes, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far away and further away, go with your team." So I think that sets up the conversation, meaning that no person, no company, no NGO, no government can do things on its own. We all need to bring the different players all together to achieve these deeply impactful changes that we're looking at. But the one thing that is critical is to define a common agenda and define what are the main problems this collaboration is trying to resolve. Otherwise, very quickly we get dispersed, and things get out of control. So, what are the problems that we want to solve, and what are the potential solutions that we want to achieve? And then that's where all of the players come on board. Some players provide regulations, governments. Some players provide, funding partners. Some players bring their own time, volunteers. Some players bring different experiences, etc., so, like companies and so forth. So I think it's critical that this concept becomes alive. And I see this also in our company as well, Arcos Dorados. It's impossible for anybody in a company like ours, which is huge and spread across 20 countries in the region, same as JA, with more than 80,000 employees. It's impossible to convey some of the messages if we don't do it from an integrated perspective. No team should be working alone. As a matter of fact, we are creating agile groups within the company that bring different people together. So I think it's a clear example of how we must collaborate on a daily basis. And we are also very happy to supporting JA in this endeavor. I think we're going to talk about a little bit later on the in-company program, but the video was very motivating and enlightening for me. I see almost 32 years ago when I had some hair and a few less kilos within my body. And when I started my career at McDonald's, and I said, well, my first job was to peel the potatoes in a McDonald's restaurant in Argentina. So I never imagined the possibilities and the chances of growing personally, professionally. I gathered my family together as well within my job. So it's difficult to separate myself from my person, Gabriel, and my job and my responsibility. So I became an collaborative person. Myself, I'm a little bit of a collaboration within the different aspects of my life, right? So
And Gabriel, how many employees McDonald's have in the region? Like
more than 80,000.
More than so that could be the headline, right? I mean, Gabriel from peeling potatoes, you said, to now securing that a company that employs more than 80,000 employees is sustainable and is having a positive impact.
So I see this as something that the company has to do, and personally myself, I have to do as well, as a retribution to the opportunities that were provided to me, and very happy to contribute and collaborate with you guys. I personally am a former JA volunteer in a program when I lived in the US. Very, very enlightening and entertaining. I really enjoy my time volunteering for JA, and I'm really looking forward to continue collaborating with all of you. And I'm really looking forward to hearing from Alma, Ricardo, and Macarena as well, because I think they can bring definitely different perspectives to the table, right?
Yeah, thank you so much, Gabriel. And when we approach a new partner, I mean, that first conversation really tells us if the people and the company are open to collective impact or not. When they say, no, we have all of this program we have developed in company and we run it and we do it all ourselves, that's a message. That has not been the case with you at all. And Ricardo, the same with PMI. And I know there is this differentiation between the collective impact collaboration. If you could, connect the dots for the audience, is there any difference between just collaborating and driving collective impact from your experience?
Well, I guess that the point is that when we are saying that we collaborate, we just do our part, okay? I do my part. I have project management training or something related to that, and I do my part. And you do your part on entrepreneurship. And the other one is giving the fund. That's collaboration. And I do my part and I do it really well. But the thing on collective impact is more about the results, is how we integrate each other, how we are caring about what you are doing, how are we doing, and what are the final results and impact that that's producing in the society. And because of the change of mindset, then you start to realize this is an ecosystem. Nothing happens alone. And I agree with Gabriel on that. It's like you really need someone else to just make it happen. Because of the focus on the results, then it's when you say, we are changing the things. We are not just doing the things. Doing the things is not the same as achieving things. And I think that that's the point. That changed the mindset in organizations when you start saying, we need this ecosystem, we need to work with other associations, with other companies, with the government, with the banks, okay? So we need to just have this ecosystem to produce a result. And especially because I was just listening to the story of Gabriel, and I say, yes, I was a boy in Colombia, okay? And I am originally a teacher, okay? So I not a teacher, okay? I started to be an English and literature teacher, okay? And then I became a project manager. And then I went to just live in other countries and work in Africa and Asia Pacific and etc. And that happened because someone opened my eyes and said, you can be whatever you want, not what you were supposed to be. But that required an integration of several things, like PMI, my company, working with volunteers, working with other organizations. And that opened the eyes to just say, I can do anything, okay? We can achieve great things. The only thing is that everything needs to be coordinated. This is an ecosystem. And that for me, it's collaborative impact, okay? It's like really working in conjunction and towards the results and the benefits, not only working.
I'm seeing on your back, and I see, be yourself, be humble, be unique. You have that sign on your back. and I mean, that caught my attention because yes, collective impact is about let's all bring something to the table, let's combine that, and then synergies are created. But you also mentioned the importance of first being yourself. Is something that starts with an individual journey, and then and that applies to organizations, companies, to all type of entities, right? Not just individuals.
And we say, for example, in PMI, that we want to work with other associations to create this coalition of associations, because at the end it's your journey, okay? You come here and we want to be like the Wikipedia of projects. It's like, it doesn't matter where you are or what your career is, you come here and you choose what you need, okay? Doesn't mean that you are going to be doing what we say. It's more what you want, okay? Continue being yourself, just honor your career, your life, your journey, and take advantage of this ecosystem. And yes, that's actually the intention of that.
I love that. Actually, and I'm just stealing from another question I have here. I mean, Project Management Institute and Junior Achievement are partnering in 4 different regions around the world. So our joint effort is not just about our region. Now it's a global movement and effort we are putting together. And we are really working to make sure that, for example, Alma or Macarena, while they went through the J Company experience, they are also developing some critical skills like project management. Could you share with us, why do you think that it is so important for someone at the age of 18 years old to develop project management skills from your perspective, and why we are pushing this in 4 regions around the world?
Let me just go personal. I have 4 children, okay? And I have 2 granddaughters. Well, actually, one that is going to be born now. But then my daughter, she's 17 right now. When she was like 11, she was learning project management at the school, okay? So they were teaching her project management. And I gave her some books that were like Harry Potter, but with project management, okay? Not boring, but it was a really nice book. She was reading the book and then she was talking about doing things. She was organizing something in her school, a project, and she was saying, yes, but we need to be aware that this could be wrong, okay? This could be actually having problems in the future, and we need to organize the work, and we don't have the resources for this, and we don't have the money, and etc. It looks technical, but the thing is, she was really oriented to create something, because you can have the idea, but putting this into practice and creating reality is a whole different story, okay? We need to ensure that young people, they have the skills, the knowledge, the tools, etc., to just create reality, okay? Just not talk about the reality. Just, you don't like something, change the something, okay? But we need to be sure that you have the tools for that. The fact that the youth are starting to learn these technical aspects, but also they need to have the entrepreneurship mindset of saying, this is not going to be easy. You have to create a company, and you need to take care of the finance, and you need to take care of the resources, and you need to take care of the people also, okay? And those things are a lot of things that you need in the project management world or in the entrepreneur world, and you also need to connect this with the strategy, okay? You can have a great idea, but where are you going to? Those things of saying you need to have these skills, technical, business, the interpersonal skills, and how to integrate this for me makes the difference. And now I'm so glad that, for example, in one of my events in PMI, my daughter was able to just be here and be a moderator, and she was like normal, okay? Not because she's an entrepreneur, but because she understands the thing, okay? And that's, I guess, the major difference. I love the fact that Alma or we are creating something different, and you are doing something. It's not the future. You are the future. You are already
Exactly.
here, okay? We don't work
Exactly.
for the youth. We work with the youth.
Exactly, because we want them to do things today, not 10 years from now. And because once they are empowered, they can do it, right? So now that you mentioned Alma, and then Gabriel, I will go back to you with a question. But before that, let me ask Alma, because I think we want to make sure that we connect the aspect of learning and what meaning that has for the life of those who are learning, but also for the environment and the community. So you were part of the company program, Alma. How did that influence your decisions, your mindset, actually the person you are, and how that shaped your path? Because you are already in a very exciting path, as I said, dealing in a very challenging industry, all led by men mainly, and you're showing that change is needed, not just possible, but needed. How did that AJ experience influence, and how you connect that to what you're doing today, Alma?
Hi, good morning, everybody. And I want to tell you that since I started the program, they changed my life because it's the thing that I hear inspiring stories about another people. And I realized that everything is possible. The people are doing, making things real. So I think this is the most important thing that I catch in the programs, the GA. The program that I enjoyed the most was the FIE because I meet extraordinary people, and I think the people is the key to do the things. When you have the talent and have the skills, but not have the people, you can do anything. And in the programs that GA offers to me, I meet people, I meet another things of another kinds of learning. So when I become part of the community to the GA, I see that GA is concerned about the growth of the personnel. They develop the skills, the soft skills, like Ricardo say, not only the hard skills, for example, leadership, entrepreneurship, empathy. So that are the key. That are the key people and the skills, soft skills, first of all. I can say
And Alma, you as the general director of the Mexican Union of Mezcal.
yes.
First, tell us very shortly, what is the Mexican Union of Mezcal, and what do you do there? Like briefly.
Mexican Union of Mezcal is people that produce mezcal, but the people that produce mezcal are mostly men. So the men are the people who change the maguey to destilado de agave. So I represent all the people who produce this kind of beverage. So I have in my union like 12 states of Mexico that produce this kind of beverage and share and commercialize in Mexican and international trade. So I represent that, and my function is to negotiate all the trades, to negotiate the legal policies, the political, and all that the mezcal needs to change. We need to do proposals to the government for best or yes for best negotiations and scenarios or future events for the mezcal.
So, Alma, connecting the dots here, like all of those management skills that you learn, but also more the soft skills, how you interact with people, how you communicate, how you solve problems. Do you think that that was critical for you to really be successful now leading this union?
Yes, because GA work with simulators. So in the simulators prepare us for the future events. So we can make mistakes over and over and over again. And when you are in the real life, you don't have afraid. You are brave and try and try and try. So I think GA simulators is the best thing to happen to me because I'm not afraid of do anything.
So yeah, it's definitely a very cheap way of failing when you are 18 years old, and even if you are not paying back to your stakeholders, since many of them are relatives, they will forgive you.
Yeah.
And that's the right way of doing it. Thank you very much. Gabriel, going back to you, and I already mentioned that Arcos Dorado is one of the largest employer in the region. And I always wonder why companies make the decision of investing in one social initiative or the other. In this case, we are developing a partnerships around the J Company program, which is our flagship initiative. Why have you decided to go with a program that is about entrepreneurship?
I think, Leo, young people in a region, and I think probably the world, are at a crossroads point in life. The environment that we live today, and more today with the war in Europe, etc., are putting very, very heavy challenges in young people in front of them. So I have also, my kids are young, 17, 15, etc. So I keep observing how they grow and how they learn, etc. And I think of the future. And this is my personal vision of the matter. So don't quote the company. But for the first time, I see a risk of young people not failing, but not wanting to aspiring and grow and progress and change and move on with life, because things have become very easy today for everybody. Everybody has knowledge, everybody has access, everybody knows what's happening. So what's really the motivation of making things change or making things evolve or shake the tree? Like I say, everything happens naturally today. So our view, and this is now from the company perspective as well, we must do our job to make sure that young people in Latin America have the tools, have the resources, have the motivation, and have the view of becoming good citizens for the world, doing their part in making things are done the right way, in using resources, in connecting each one another, and learning in a positive way from past experience. So I think that's why we bring the in-company initiative into Arcos Dorados, because if I look at myself at 18 years old, and I didn't have the chance of participating in any in-company program or sitting next to somebody or listening to somebody else talking about their career, or thinking about what is it to become a general manager, what is it to become a CFO, what is it to be, what are my interests? I didn't have that opportunity. So I think it's our job as a company, and also I see this as a personal responsibility of mine, to provide as many opportunities for young people, so they don't fall in this easy way of moving around and not putting all of the effort that you can provide in your experience and bring change to the world itself. So that's why we invest in this program, so we can provide as many opportunities as possible to the young people, whether they work with us or not. Because some of them may work at McDonald's, some of them may not work at McDonald's. But we want to make sure that this impact is real and is long-standing. So the young people today can, absorb, progress, and then think of the future generations as well, not only what happens today.
And actually, Gabriel, I think that defines the expanded vision of purpose that companies have now, right? Like you're saying, I'm okay with training this young guy that might end up working in another place,
Absolutely.
even if it is the competition, but still it is the expanded purpose that goes beyond, the borders of the company. And I feel that that's something that has been changing. For you, Ricardo, and now connecting with what Gabriel said and collective impact, in your journey, and I know this was not in the script, I'm sorry, but in your journey to get where you are, which you are now a thought leader for Program Management Institute, what did it take for you? Was it about just having managerial skills? Was that plus other things? What did it take for you to get where you are?
I guess that there are like three things and one environment that you need to do that. One is to realize that it's not only about the technical skills, as Alma was mentioning, okay? You need to learn the technical skills. For example, how to just manage a company, how to just manage a project, manage resources, creating a budget, all that thing, okay? Then understanding the business, okay? What's the environment where you are? What's the strategy? How you're going to be executing? How much money do you have to just execute these things? Just connecting the dots with the business. And then interpersonal skills. And then realizing that it's not only about just working together, it's dealing with conflict, being innovative, working remotely, things like that, okay? And just putting all this in a mixer. And it's different for everyone, okay? Because maybe my need for technical skills is greater, or maybe my need for interpersonal skills. So the mix is different for everyone. And then to have an environment where you can flourish, okay? It's the environment where you say, I can try, okay? For example, as Alma was mentioning, it's interesting that in the program, you say, we are going to be trying with family, okay? It's like no one is going to fire me. We are just doing something for as a test. And then in the real life, it's going to be easier. And providing environment like this, in PMI, we work a lot with volunteers. And we do a lot of volunteer work. Why? Because it's a safe environment. Come here, practice your skill or learn new skills, and nothing's going to happen. It's like we are a big family. That environment where you can try, when you can test, when you can fail, when you can learn, and then you go to real life, it makes a difference. For me, I guess that environment was, of course, supported by PMI, because I was a volunteer with PMI for a long time before becoming an employee of PMI, but also changing the mindset that it was not only learning one thing. And I guess that's the point with the youth, okay? We need to just find a way to just say, this is also important, and to show you how to just become what you want to be. It's essentially that.
And connecting it to that, Ricardo, and a question that we had here regarding, there are so many different areas of development when it comes to social impact. So do you think that education as a theme, as a key area of how we are developing communities, is one that first requires collective impact, is a must? There is no other way. And then do you think that is one of the most priority one, education against other?
Let me just put this in numbers. We have like 600 million people in Latin America. When we say change, that we need to just impact because people need to just change and etc., people imagine that you need to do like huge things, like I'm gonna just change the world, okay? I'm gonna change the climate. That doesn't happen like that, okay? Everything, it's a small step towards change, okay? So you change the policy in this, you organize this union to just work better in the world, and that's a change, okay? So our vision is that we need to just be working with more people than just the project manager, because if I, for example, I say project management, people say, technical project management, and that's a reduced amount of people. It's people that is working with change, okay? That it's producing change. And that means like 600 million, in our estimates, is like 60 million people in the region. They are working in changing projects, doing something social, working in companies, creating or implementing a new system, organizing a union, doing something with energy, whatever, okay? The thing is, we need to just go to that people. And we need to think about the generations. It's like, of course, we can actually work with people that it's already working, okay? And that's great. But what's going to happen in the future when the children come and they don't have those skills? So we need to prepare them. And we also need to prepare the old ones, okay? So we need to be prepared. It's like, not Anna, of course, and Mark, but just we need to just be prepared because we need to support that.
And something we're not that used to, right? I mean, the short term and long term at the same time.
Of course.
You're saying, I mean, young people is definitely kind of the mid-long term, because if we equip them when they are 16 years old, then they will be better prepared, right?
And I guess that when you say education, we say there is a journey 5 to 105, okay? Saying is like, we need to start really young and we need to finalize really late, okay? And we need to cover all this, because we can actually just focus on the youth, and that's great. But what's going to happen with the children when they grow up? What's going to happen with this population when they become professionals? What's going to happen with the people that it's already there in the top of the pyramid? How they are supporting all this? We need to be doing all this.
And talking about starting young, Macarena, please tell us where you are based in Peru. Are you in Lima or where are you?
Yeah, well, good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me. And yeah, right now I'm in Lima.
So, Macarena, you are not just putting us on the old side of the range, but you are also representing many of the things we have just been talking about. How we make sure that today's young people are ready, not to act in 10 years from now, but to start acting now. So how was your experience with the company program? I know you got one of the most important awards, which is around innovation. So that tells us a lot. But how was your experience and how that has influenced the way you are acting and doing now?
Well, yes, I've recently undertaken the company program, and I have to say it was definitely a challenging experience, as my team and I had to face several obstacles along the way, but that we have to overcome. Nonetheless, I would say that those obstacles, those mistakes that we made were my biggest learning, at least, as in fact, during our lives, we are going to make mistakes and we are going to stumble. So we shouldn't fixate on those mistakes that we made. Instead, we should remain resilient in the face of adversity. Therefore, for me, the company program didn't just teach me how to start a company from scratch. Yes, that's a big part of it. However, for me, it was much more than that. My biggest learning was that it prepared me for the real world, and it taught me how to become an entrepreneur as a whole from an integral point of view. So I learned useful skills, as Alma was mentioning, soft skills that I also got to put in practice during the company. So things such as innovation, collaboration, and a strong work ethic are just a few of the things that I learned. Particularly, I learned a lot about being a leader and what it implies. And I also got the chance to be my team's leader. So I practiced a lot of different things, such as problem solving, organizing a team, making decisions that I know that will serve me for the rest of my life. And without the company program, I wouldn't have otherwise done. Finally, I would like to add that another huge thing for me, another big takeaway that I get from this experience is the community of other like-minded teams that it introduced me to. I met so many committed and hardworking people that are also like me, looking to make an impact in their society. In turn, this has opened a lot of doors for me, and I know will continue to do so. So I'm just so grateful for JA and for all the knowledge I got and all the people, amazing people that I got to meet.
And Macarena, what did you do after the company program? Are you in college? What are you doing currently?
Well, right now I'm still at school. I'm in my last year of school, and the company following the company program line, I got to participate in J Peru Alumni Network, which is alumni network for J students. And I got to undertake a leadership role there. I'm actually the institutional development coordinator, and I have a team, and I lead a team there. And I think I've gotten to put in practice everything that I learned during the company program, and I'm so grateful for the experience.
So, Macarena, some years ago, the International Labour Organization published a paper, and the title was Young People, the Lost Generation. And I know there are many people out there saying today's young people are lost, today's young people don't know, where they're headed, or they are like stuck in their TikTok, their Instagram. And when I hear people like you and Alma, what I think is it is not definitely about how young people are. It's definitely about how the society is approaching young people and how we are creating the right environment for having more Almas, more Macarenas out there. Because we have cases like you both that when we give you, not just JA or when life give you that extra push or that opportunity, young people are ready to take it and are ready not to go through the shortcuts, but doing everything that is necessary to have a positive impact. When I was your age, Macarena, definitely I didn't have the resources to articulate my message and my wording the way you have just done it. And that is amazing because I feel you are much better prepared. So in a way, the future will be more promising than the one I was able to create. So that is very inspirational. And Macarena, going back to you, because you are leading with many entrepreneurs out there. I'm sure about that because many of these farmers are entrepreneurs themselves. You were part of the J Company program. And the question is, how can we make sure that initiatives like J Company program or other training that we are providing, how we make sure that these interventions remain relevant for the beneficiaries and also for the economy as a whole, from your perspective? And now that you have this vision of you having gone through the process, now dealing with entrepreneurs, seeing the gaps, how can we remain relevant in terms of our intervention?
Leo, I think the question is for Alma, but you said Macarena.
Yeah, that was for Alma. So, and I can ask that again, Alma. How do you think we can remain relevant when it comes to programs that develop entrepreneurial spirit? And now that you have gone through it, but also are dealing with entrepreneurs, the farmers, and you're seeing the gaps, how can we remain relevant?
I think the organization of people is the most relevant in my industry because we need to know what is the necessity of the people and what is the necessity for the industry. So we collect all the abilities like empathy, leadership, and entrepreneurship that I say before. But the most important thing in the farm industry is to know what to do in the future because the technology, the beverage, and the food is just one. So when you try to collect all the industry in the world, you know that the farm is nobody have the information, the correct information to develop the people. So I say that when I entered to this industry, my factor, my first action was to talk with the people, to try to understand what are the actual environment of the commerce, what is the policies that can help us to grow. So in GA, when we do the simulators, we try to understand first the people, and then the industry, and then the money. So is this the thing I want to share with the people, that in the GA is not only for the we can do business and that's all, no? So we can try or we can make business with people. So the people is the most important things in all the GA programs, and in my actually professional life is the most important thing that I do.
Yeah, the human factor, right? And how we are empathic. And you are
Yes.
being empathic in your work, just going out there, talking to the farmers, making sure that you are close
And
to the
trying to
problems. Exactly.
introduce technology, and trying to introduce new policies, and trying to introduce export, import, and legacy information to the
Exactly.
human factor.
Gabriel, when it comes to social impact, there are two variables that are always connected or should be connected, which is the effectiveness of the intervention and then the scale. And hopefully we can reach both. But when it comes, then to collaboration, private sector, NGO, government, how can we improve that connection between effectiveness of the intervention, outcome, and scale? And then I will ask you, Ricardo, to share your perspective.
Well, I think it's critical that a proper measurement system is put in place. First, we need to understand exactly what sort of impact are these programs having. I think Macarena's example and Alma's example are very positive as a outcome of a person that participated in these programs and then were able to do things like they're doing. So I think it's really important to establish this measurement mechanism to see how these programs are actually impacting life in our society. We had a couple of discussions a few months ago about how to do that, right, with your team, Leo. I think that's also an interesting avenue for us to explore together. And once we have that, and once we understand exactly what's happening afterwards, I think that's where the next question comes on board. And what do we need to change? Who do we need to bring to the table so we can continue collaborating, making the changes, and moving forward with the different investments or projects or initiatives.
So it's definitely about the human factor, as Alma was saying, but it's also about having the right system structures in place.
Absolutely.
To make the machinery work all together. And Ricardo, instead of asking you to answer that one, we have a question from Diego, and I think it's since we have only 4 minutes before we close, it is more related to how we inspire young people. It says, which advice you got when you were young that shaped your professional career, and what type of experience you had at early age that shaped what you did after? It could be related to mentors, or I don't know.
I guess that was the value of community. It's like I'm stronger when I have a community around me. And that applies for anything, okay? My personal life, my professional life. It's like when I have someone around me and they understand or they go through the same challenges and we are able to just connect and share experiences and knowledge, that changes your life. When you are alone, that's so difficult because you are dealing with the issues all by yourself. When you have someone that you can actually just ask for advice or provide advice, okay? That's a different story, okay? What is changing our life right now is just the fact that we are sharing experiences. I understand where you are coming from, you understand where I'm coming from, and we can create a different story now from this moment on. But it's that particular, okay?
And that has also a positive impact, which is that we are not alone. And that gives you the courage, right? And that also tells us that make sure you are surrounded by the right people. I mean, that community that you are part of is one that will generate positive value, right? And since we only have 2 minutes, now I want to ask Macarena and Alma, in 1 minute, Macarena, what would you tell to a young person that is just starting the J Company experience or any other type of educational experience? What would you advise to that person that is just to begin?
Well, to all the students or people out there that are listening and they're thinking of taking on an experience such as a company program, my biggest recommendation would be to not be afraid of taking risks and getting out of your comfort zone. I think this program is a perfect space for you to fail, to make mistakes, but most importantly, to learn from those mistakes. Thus, I would strongly encourage you to be innovative, to be creative, and take risks and think outside the box because you would really appreciate it later on.
Thank you, Macarena. Once a mentor told me, learn from mistake as many times as you want, but make sure not. So it really represents that you are learning new things and that you are improving. So Alma, from your side, what would you tell to this young person that is just about to start?
I just want to say, get ready for change your life, learn, have fun, and make a lot of friends because the relationships, the learning, and the fun is the only thing that you can do through your life. So your future is in your hands, and welcome to the GA programs.
I think that's a great message to close today's webinar. And Gabriel, I will use you in some way here, and sorry about that. But even if you're working today peeling a potato, it is up to you to change the direction, the trajectory of your life. It's not about what you are getting from outside. It's not about the government. It's not about the gang that is inviting you to join in any country. It is about yourself first. And that's the exciting part. You have that willing, you have that power then.
You have to become the best potato peeler.
Exactly.
Okay? That's
absolutely
the best of what you do, and that's your personal drive, right? So.
That's where it starts. And I'm sure, Gabriel, you were the best peeling the potato, and that's why now you are being one of the best, securing that sustainable impact is possible. So again, I really want to thank each of the panelists because you have made it personal, not just from your more professional. Because I think when we connect from a personal perspective is when a real bond is generating with the audience, and that really brings inspiration, which is the goal of these webinars that we have put together. Thanks again. Thanks to all of the audience. Thanks, Hernan Soco, for the effort of putting all of this effort. Paola Menossi from the tech team. And again, looking forward to seeing you in our second edition of Inspiring Voices. Bye-bye. Have a good one. And let's shine and be our best version. Bye-bye.